5 Jeep mods your dealer hates. Install just one, and your warranty could disappear instantly. The worst part? They're not upgrades. They're fixes for problems Jeep created. Here are 5 mods that instantly make your Jeep drive better. Number 5. Aftermarket cold air intake. The oldest argument between Jeep owners and dealerships starts right here, with a cold air intake. Swapping the factory airbox on a 3.6 Pentastar V6 for an aftermarket unit from K&N, AFE Power, or Mishimoto. The moment your dealer spots that chrome filter sitting in your engine bay during a routine service, they start writing notes. And those notes follow your VIN everywhere. The Jeep's position is simple. The factory airbox was designed to protect the engine from water, dust, and debris. Anything that changes airflow could cause accelerated wear, contamination, or sensor fouling. They point to the speed density system on the Pentastar, which uses air temperature and manifold pressure instead of a mass airflow sensor. That system was calibrated around the stock intake. Change the intake, and Jeep says the calibration no longer applies. Now here's what they leave out. The factory airbox already has an opening pointed at the edge of the hood to pull in outside air. The stock system isn't exactly choking for airflow. A cold air intake on its own, without a tune, gives you maybe 8 to 12 horsepower at high RPM, according to K&N's own dyno sheets. That's not going to change your life, but pair that intake with a proper ECU tune and a catback exhaust, and suddenly you're looking at 20 to 30 real horsepower. And here's the part that makes this whole thing ridiculous. Mopar sells their own branded cold air intake as a dealer accessory. You can buy it at the parts counter of the same dealership that would deny your warranty for running one from K&N. Mopar charges around $350. K&N charges about the same. Both replace the factory airbox. Both change airflow characteristics. But only one has a Mopar sticker on the box. That's the difference. Cost is $250 to $400 for a quality unit. Installs in under an hour with basic hand tools. But this next one solves a problem that has terrified Jeep owners for over 2 decades. Number 4. Heavy-duty aftermarket track bar. If you've ever driven a Wrangler at highway speed, hit a bump, and felt the steering wheel try to rip itself out of your hands, you already know what death wobble is. And the modification that actually fixes it is one Jeep dealers will use against you on a warranty claim. We're talking about replacing the factory-stamped steel track bar with a heavy-duty adjustable unit from Synergy, RockJock, TerraFlex, or Metal Cloak. The factory track bar on a JK or JL is a hollow tube with rubber bushings on each end. It connects the passenger side of the front axle to the driver's side of the frame. Its only job is keeping the axle centered under your Jeep. When those rubber bushings wear down, even slightly, the axle shifts side to side every time you hit a bump. That lateral movement yanks the drag link, jerks the wheels, and the caster angle snaps them back the other direction. This creates a violent feedback loop, steering shaking back and forth so hard you feel like the front end is about to fall apart. That's death wobble, and it happens at highway speed. Jeep has known about this for years. They issued recalls on certain JL models for bad track bar welds. They swapped aluminum steering boxes for cast iron ones. They threw new steering stabilizers at the problem over and over. But the root cause, the bushings and the mounting hardware, kept wearing out at the same rate. And that's where the aftermarket stepped in. Heavy-duty track bars use either polyurethane bushings or Heim joints that don't deflect under load. They're built from thicker, solid steel that resists bending. Adjustable length versions let you recenter the axle properly after installing a lift, something the factory bar physically can't do. Cost runs $200 to $500 depending on brand and features. Installation takes an afternoon. The moment a dealer sees that aftermarket track bar during a suspension inspection, any warranty claim related to steering, suspension, ball joints, or tire wear can be denied. Even if the aftermarket bar is clearly the better part, even if the factory bar was what failed in the first place. Jeep sells you a vehicle known for death wobble, then denies the warranty when you install the fix. That's not a modification, that's a correction. Quick thing, if this is making you rethink what your dealer has been telling you, you're not alone. That's exactly what this channel is for. Hit subscribe. Every week we break down the stuff Jeep won't say out loud so you can make the smart call instead of the expensive one. A lot of this comes down to long-term wear and how you take care of the Jeep. I actually put everything I've learned into a Jeep longevity ebook. Links below if you want to check it out. Number 3. Axle regearing. This is the modification every serious Jeep owner eventually needs, and the one that gets the most confusing warranty pushback. When you put bigger tires on a Wrangler, which is the single most common modification in the entire Jeep world, you change the mechanical advantage of the whole drivetrain. A Wrangler with stock 4.10 gears running 37-inch tires is functionally under-geared. The engine works harder at every RPM to turn those heavier, taller tires. Acceleration drops off. The transmission hunts for gears on hills. Fuel economy tanks. And you're putting extra stress on every component in the drivetrain, the exact kind of stress Jeep claims they want to prevent. Regearing means swapping the ring and pinion gears in both the front and rear differentials to a ratio that matches your tire size. For 35s on a JL with the 8-speed automatic, most experienced shops recommend 4.56 or 4.88 gears. For 37s, 4.88 is the sweet spot. The result is immediate. Acceleration comes back. The transmission stops hunting. Highway RPMs return to where they belong. And fuel economy improves because the engine is sitting in its intended power band again. Shops that do regear every day charge between $2,200 and $2,700 for both axles on a JL or Gladiator using Dana Spicer gear sets. Quality shops finish the job in a single day. The most common thing owners say after a regear is, "I should have done this 6 months ago." But Jeep views any change to the differential internals as a modification that can void powertrain coverage. Blow a transfer case with regeared axles? Good luck getting that covered. Transmission issue? They'll point to the gears. And this is where Jeep's logic completely falls apart. Jeep sells the Rubicon with 4.10 gears from the factory. Then Mopar sells a 2-inch lift kit as a dealer-installed accessory. Owners throw on 35-inch tires because that's what the Mopar lift is designed for. But 4.10 gears with 35-inch tires leaves the engine struggling. Jeep created the problem with their own accessory package and then denies the warranty when you fix the gearing to match. Now, these first three are mods that most Jeep owners already know about. But band number 2 quietly transforms how your Wrangler drives every single day. Number 2, ECU calibration and tuning. Not a supercharger, not forced induction, just telling the computer to do its job better. The PCM on a Wrangler controls fuel mapping, ignition timing, shift points, rev limiters, top speed limiters, and torque management. Jeep calibrates all of that for one thing above everything else: fuel economy and emissions numbers. Smooth, soft shifts that score well on NVH tests at the dealership. Lazy throttle response that makes the truck feel calm during a 10-minute test drive. That's the priority. Your driving experience after you sign the paperwork? Not so much. Throttle response is delayed because the drive-by-wire system filters your pedal input. Shift points are set to upshift as early as possible to keep RPMs low. Torque management actively cuts engine output during certain conditions to protect the transmission from calibrations that Jeep already knows aren't ideal. Companies like Livernois Motorsports, Superchips, and HP Tuners offer PCM calibrations specifically for the 3.6 Pentastar. On 93 octane, Livernois reports gains of over 40 wheel horsepower and 35 wheel torque on the 3.6. On the 2.0 turbo, the gains are even bigger because there's boost pressure to play with. Tuners are pulling 50-plus additional wheel horsepower with E85 on that platform. Shift points sharpen. Throttle response becomes immediate. The speedometer recalibrates for larger tires so your odometer reads correctly. Cost ranges from $450 to $800, depending on the platform and tuning company. But Jeep tracks this. The PCM has a flash counter that increments every time the computer gets rewritten. That counter doesn't reset. Any dealer can check it during diagnostics. One non-factory flash, and every powertrain warranty claim becomes grounds for denial. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act says Jeep must prove your tune caused the specific failure. But in practice, fighting a warranty denial costs more in legal fees than the repair itself. And Jeep knows that. Same engine, same hardware, different priorities. Jeep calibrates it for corporate targets. Independent tuners calibrate it for how the engine was actually built to perform. But band number 1 is the most impactful modification on this list, and it fixes the single biggest contradiction in Jeep's entire suspension design. Number 1, aftermarket adjustable control arms. When Jeep's own lift kit creates a problem their own suspension can't fix, that tells you everything you need to know. The factory upper and lower control arms on a Wrangler are fixed-length, stamped steel pieces designed for stock ride height. Install any lift, even a modest 2.5 inches, and the geometry changes immediately. Caster angle drops because the fixed arms push the axle forward. Less caster means lighter, wandering steering at highway speeds. Pinion angle shifts, which creates driveline vibration you can feel through the floorboard. And the suspension can't articulate properly off-road because the arms are the wrong length for the new ride height. Aftermarket adjustable control arms from Metal Cloak, Synergy, Terraflex, and Rock Crawler let you dial in the correct caster, fix the pinion angle, and restore full suspension travel. They use heavier wall tubing, stronger joints, and threaded adjusters that allow precise length changes down to fractions of an inch. The difference from the driver's seat is night and day. Highway steering goes from vague and floaty to tight and planted. Driveline vibrations at speed vanish. Off-road flex improves because the arms are finally working at correct angles instead of being maxed out at the wrong length. Cost runs $800 to $2,000 for a full set of uppers and lowers, depending on brand and whether you go with rebuildable joints or rubber bushings. And the warranty impact is the most absurd on this entire list. Jeep sells a lift kit through Mopar that raises the vehicle. That lift changes the suspension geometry. Jeep's own factory control arms can't correct the geometry at the new ride height. Aftermarket arms fix it completely. And Jeep voids your suspension warranty for installing the solution to the problem their own accessory created. Every alignment shop that works on lifted Wranglers recommends adjustable control arms. Not suggested, recommended. Because they are tired of customers coming back every few months with chewed tires and vibrations that no amount of shimming can fix on factory arms. Jeep sells you the lift kit. Their own arms can't handle it. The aftermarket fixes what Jeep wouldn't. That's not aftermarket. That's quality control. Which one of these mods would you actually do to your Jeep? Drop it in the comments below. And if you want your Jeep to last as long as possible, check out my longevity ebook linked below. Don't forget to subscribe for more. See you next time.